Hi there, I thought it was time I did a little volcano update for my friends, just to talk about what has been going on really over the last couple of weeks. And I suppose the biggest change is some of the eruption craters or vents ceased erupting, and there are various theories as why that would happen, but at the end of the day the magma will always come up via the easiest route. That's just the way it works. But so we finished with one continuously erupting vent until a few days ago. And what happened with that a few days ago is it started to become a little bit more intermittent 3 or 4 days ago. And then what would happen is it would stop for maybe a minute or two, and then it would start again. And when it started again, the magma fountain would naturally rise a little bit higher. It was more like a fountain. But this has been going on, and then we had a situation where it was actually stopping for up to 10 minutes, and then erupting again and bursting out like a geyser of fire. The steam geysers, you have to stand and watch and wait for when it is going to erupt. It's scalding, cargo of steam. But what happens with this is it's pretty much the same. You have to wait for it. And if you're waiting a longer time, it seems that it is rising higher. But yesterday, or the day before yesterday, we had this situation where the magma fountain rose to a spectacular height of, I think it was about 450 metres. But that was a really spectacular one to watch. And I have posted a little video, not that I took myself, that I've shared on Facebook of that kind of spectacular. I'm not saying that it's the one that was the highest, but that spectacular fountain of fire. So when all of this started to happen, and for the first time since the eruption started, there were pauses, there were moments when no lava was, flowing. So some people began to wonder whether that was a sign that it was stopping. And of course, no one knows. But what we can say with absolute certainty, because the experts have checked it out, is that the average volume of magma erupting over the last 3 or 4 days has not reduced. It was averaging around 5 cubic meters per second, and at its highest there have been times when it's been, I think, 8, 9 or 10 meters, but overall the average has been about 5, and the average is now about 7, so it isn't reducing, which is good news for people that want it to continue so that they can go and see it, rather than simply visiting a new lava field, although that is beautiful and very worthwhile too. I know how excited I felt when I went to see the Hollow Huron lava field generated by the Geldingadalsgos eruption. So there's always going to be something wonderful to see there. That is preserved for posterity, but the glory of watching fiery magma actually come out of the earth, we don't know how long that will continue. But these kinds of fissure eruptions can continue for a long time. The Krapler fires continued for around 10 years. That was in the north, sort of almost northeast of Iceland. And at the time, between about 1975 and 1985, it started in 1975, they were building the Kröflu power plant. So the eruptions that were happening presented a few challenges, but of course the power plant got built. And whatever happens here, we have everything is well planned for all the different possibilities that could come up. One that sounds very funny when I mention it to people is that all of the sort of JCB and earth moving equipment in the area have been registered in case they are required to build up some kind of boundaries to kind of coax the flow in a more helpful direction, should that be necessary, but it's certainly not necessary at the moment. It's, Geldingadalsgos has taken the lava flow well, and some of it has now flowed more into Meridala, and that is a very large valley. So other than the fact that local farmers are wondering where they're going to put their sheep when they send them up on the hills this summer, there isn't, too much that is interfering with everyday life. The earthquakes have pretty well gone back to normal, other than one day, a few days ago, when we had 3.8 earthquakes within a 12-hour period. And some people said, well, is this a sign that it's stopping or that something different is happening? Well, something different did happen because we had the intermittent flow, but I haven't read anything that's related it back to those earthquakes, and I do look at quite a few articles, so I would say that there isn't, there's certainly no relationship that has been reported upon. And it's interesting that sometimes more earthquakes will happen when a volcano is getting ready to cease, not just when it is starting. So of course, again, when that happens, people wonder, but for now, it continues. The volume has not reduced, and whilst there are small variations, of course, in the pattern that are exciting, in many ways it is pretty much the same. So living here, I kind of, now it's in the background, rather than being something like, oh, I've been out, I'm back, I can go online, because I don't generally go online when I'm out and about. I can check up on the volcano. That isn't so much there now, but I do go down and walk down to the local coastline, where I can look across sort of as the crow flies, and with this fountain of fire rising higher, it's possible to see it even in daylight, looking across in that way, looking across the ocean to the land on the other side. Well, I say on the other side, it's more across a bay onto a peninsula that I am looking at. It's not like looking at an island, because it isn't a separate landmass at all. The area where the volcano is, Reykjanes is a peninsula. So I still do that quite often, and each evening. I don't know if I've missed any evenings at all in the last couple of weeks, actually. And it's good that it's visible in daylight, because to look in the dark now, I really would have to be out and about close to midnight. And whilst I do sometimes walk at that hour, it's very safe here. It's not something I do on a regular basis, because I like my beauty sleep. So I think that's what I can say about the volcano and what it's like for me to live with it now.